So Al, let's talk about this, right? Feel free, grab the mic, man. Share some insights. How do you prepare for a disaster?
Yeah, it's tough, right? I mean, with all the stuff that's been going on in the country and really more related to the wildfires that are going on in California right now, it's just crazy what we're
Mm.
seeing and what we're hearing. I think it really depends on the type of disaster that you would be faced with, right? So look at the fires out in California. There is limited time to prepare and grab a go bag is the term you may have seen or heard about. Pretty a hot topic lately, to some extent. But then you have, like the flooding that happened a few months ago in the North Carolina area, where that
Yeah.
just happened within a matter of like some people minutes. So I think it's definitely touch and go. The one thing I would say is like this go bag topic has been something that I've heard a lot about really recently, with all these disasters we're seeing. It's been a hot topic. I think the question is like when you build out this go bag or to go bag, like what do you put in it? Consistent answers you get are, like food, water, medical supplies, radios. It's really based on what capacity you're at. I do think that the water piece is big. I think the medical supplies or medicine is also up there, especially if you have, children, kids, stuff like that. That can be super important, lighting, batteries. People are saying like support supplies, like trash
Yep.
bags, stuff like that. That's stuff you can definitely, I think, put in there. One thing that I will say, I think outside of the go bag piece is one thing that I've done really over the past year to 2 years is important documents, right? So anything that's important in your home. So that could be, maybe not a license because you want to have your license on you, but a birth certificate, social security
Social Security.
cards,
Yeah.
deeds, things again that are important that are tough to replace. If possible, those things want to be in some type of safe. I think it really depends. I think it depends on your situation. I think it depends on what your capacity is. I think, your go bag essentially, if you have the ability to do something like that, that's going to be based on what's important to you. And like on our side, right, on the insurance side, I get it all the time where people have never filed a claim before, right? So we have to walk them through that process. And
Yep.
again, like one of the most satisfying parts of my job is at the end when they're like, hey, listen, like this was like a crappy situation. The company, whoever, like you guys made it pretty easy. I have an investment property, and like I think that's one of the things that I kind of went over with the tenants I have is like, all right, like if these things happen, here's kind of like as a tenant, like what your obligation is to really just help mitigate anything, like for
Yep.
example, here's where the main water valve shut off is in the house.
Like
So if
that.
you have a burst pipe or you have a water leak, this would be like your first place to go to turn the water off again to help mitigate any type of excessive damage.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I think the other thing too, like with in your situation with the fires, we do see that quite often. And what a lot of people don't actually understand is like, you lose part of the home or you lose your belongings in a fire, right? Like that's stuff that typically an insurance company will pay for, right? We'll pay out that
Yep.
claim. But what about like when the fire department goes to put the fire out and a part of the home that really wasn't impacted by the fire gets wet, and you have to worry about wet drywall or, your belongings that were lost because they were wet. Like, does the insurance company pay for that stuff too? And like, how do they figure out what they're on the hook for? Because yeah, it's all one claim per se, but
Hmm.
the other side of the home that wasn't affected necessarily by the fire now has water damage because the fire department needed to, use water on the whole house to put the fire out. So yeah, it can really just make your head spin, Emilio. Again, if you're not, if you haven't been exposed to it and don't really know like what to expect, So having, the right people on your side, the right insurance agent, the right company can definitely play a huge role in making that process as, easy as it can be.